The Haunting of Hill House by David Self. Revisions by Michael Tolkien. Based on the novel by Shirley Jackson. 11/10/98. Initial shooting script. Note: the hard copy of the script contained scene numbers that may have been removed for this soft copy. Began main title sequence. At the very edge of hearing, the tone of human voices, unintelligible, babbling, eerie, then a loud, flapping sound. It shifts from one side of the theater to the other, like something moving among the wall hangings. As the title appears, the noise mounts, drowning out the voices, agitated, becoming violent, banging, inhuman. Fade in. Exterior. Housing project. Charleston Town, Massachusetts. Day. On a housing project in the industrial outskirts of Boston, the banging seems to flutter away, leading us along, searching, to a tiny balcony, one of dozens, 10 stories up, and there, the source of the sound. A sheet snapping in the wind. The umbrella-like clothesline on which it hangs bangs against a dirty glass door, as if trying to get in. Through the glass door, a woman paces inside, agitated. The voices rise over the banging, becoming intelligible. Interior. Living room. Nell's apartment. Day. Becoming a fight. Jane, 30s, dark-haired, furious, wheels across a diminutive, neat but poor living room. Jane. It'll take a month to prorate the will, Nell. A month. Even if Mother left you something, you won't get it in time to pay the rent. So instead of complaining, you should be thanking Lou for getting you these 2 weeks to get Mother's things packed. At first, we can't even see who she's yelling at. At first, we don't even notice her. Then we do. Holding herself in a dim corner away from the light, small, plain, like a part of the faded room, is Eleanor Vance, 20s. Nell. She stares at the door. The clothesline raps at the begrimed glass. Jane continued. Nell. The wind dies. The banging stops. Nell seems to hear Jane and peers over at her, then across the room to Jane's bored husband, Lou. He's turning a Franklin Mint commemorative coin set in his hands, studying it. Lou. You are still going to have to settle with your mother's landlord on the back rent. Nell watches Jane's little boy, Richie. Unpacified by the cartoons on the TV, he plows a plastic tank across a shelf through neat rows of delicate porcelain dolls. Nell. I'm not going to stay. I'll get a job. I'll get my own apartment. Richie knocks a porcelain doll off, and it breaks all over the carpet. His parents don't notice, but Nell feels it in the soul. Richie stops, a lone beat. He looks at her, insolent, then plows on with his tank. Jane. Nell, a job? 2 months, and where is this job? You have no degree, you've never worked. Nell explodes in outraged fury, startling us. Nell. I've never worked? Jane. You have no experience in the world, the regular world. What would you put on a resume? Beat, softening. Now we all appreciate what you did for Mother. Isn't that right, Lou? Lou. 11 years, long time. Jane. That's why we've been talking. With me getting more time in accessories and Lou at the shop all day, we need somebody to take care of Richie, do a little cleaning and cooking, and in return, you can have the extra room. She goes to Lou, puts a hand on his shoulder, proud of her generosity. All Nell can do is stare. And then, knock, knock. Like a shot, Nell is out of the chair and turning for a set of French doors across the room. It's all reflex. Nell catches herself. Knock, knock. Richie, lying on the couch like he's sick, raps on the wall with a wooden cane and squeals. Richie. Eleanor, help me. I've got to pee. Nell reacts, but rather than being amused or annoyed, a wave of trauma flickers over her face. The reaction is so strong, we instantly know something is very wrong. Lou. Richie, knock it off before I beat the crap out of you. Nell turns away, sick, breathing hard. Jane picks up a jewelry box from a dresser. Jane. You are sure this is all of Mother's jewelry? Jewelry. The lawyer said to make sure we took it to him. Beat. He said there might be some antique pieces. Have you seen anything? Some of it might be valuable. Nell knows what is going to happen to that jewelry. Jane no longer can bear the weight of Nell's stare. Checks her watch. She nods at Lou. Lou rises, pocketing the coin set. Richie follows him out. Jane continued. Think about our offer, Nell. You don't know how hard it is out there. Interior. Nell's kitchen. Day. Nell rams through the door into the small kitchen, spotless, empty, and then bursts into tears. Shaken, she digs in her back pocket and pulls out a fine filigree necklace. Her mother's. It's from an age gone by. Clutching the necklace, she goes back out the door. Interior. Living room. Nell's apartment. Day. Nell crosses the living room straight for the closed French doors, the glass obscured by gauze curtains. She throws them open and enters. Interior. Sick room. Day. Continuous. What once was a dining room transformed into a sick room. Drawn shades. Dim. The first traces of dust. Nell lingers in the doorway a beat, daunted. A perfectly made bed. The pillow, however, retains the impression of a head. Lodged between the bed and a nightstand, a cane. On the opposite side of the bed is a plastic toilet, IV stand, shrouded white shapes. On the wall above the bed, a framed needlepoint counsels. A place for everything, everything in its place. A bit of wisdom, a way to live a life. A way Nell has lived for too long. Seeing it galvanizes her into movement. She goes to an old armoire, a medicine chest, opens it, removes a bottle of Tylenol with codeine, and marches out. Interior. Living room. Nell's apartment. Day. Nell closes the doors on the chamber of horrors, exhales. She has been holding her breath. Interior. Nell's kitchen. Day. Nell sits at her tiny kitchen table, water glass and Tylenol in front of her. The necklace dangles from her fingers. She stares, mesmerized by it. Then she undoes the hasp. The clothesline outside batters louder. And defiant, Nell puts the necklace on. She closes her eyes. Silence. The battering is stopped. A beat. And then the phone rings. Nell opens her eyes. The phone rings. Keeps ringing. Nell, feeling the drug, finds her way to the phone and picks up. Nell. Hello? Yes, this is Eleanor. Where? Yes, it's right here. Nell listens for a long moment. She picks up the classifieds, flips through, and there it is. Trouble sleeping? Wanted. Research subjects. $900,000 a week, plus RM and BD. Beautiful old house in Berkshires. Psychology study. End main title sequence. Interior. Psychic Observation Lab. Psychic Observation Lab. Day. The lab feels more like the video center of a security office than a psychologist's laboratory. 2 banks of black and white monitors gives us images of men and women, different ages, different races, wired to electrodes. They are taking psychological tests, although we never see the testers. The subjects are working through variations on object manipulation and pattern recognition tests. There are subtle differences between the 2 banks of monitors. On the left, the subjects are all twitching at exactly the same time. On the right, the subjects are also twitching, but in no discernible sequence. The subjects on the left are better able to concentrate on their tasks. The subject on the right keeps stopping and going over what they have done. 2 men. Malcolm Keogh, in his 50s, is a Graham professor, the head of the department, someone we trust. He faces Professor James Marrow. He is a man whose confidence rests uneasily on his ambition, and in the tension between the two is the power that makes him the teacher students love. Right now, though, he is defending himself before a department review. This is not a court martial with judges behind a desk. It's more free form. The men are having a fight, and they are watched by other professors. Malcolm. It's still an electric shock. Marrow. Come on, Malcolm. It's only 7 OHMSs. It's nothing. It's like a joy buzzer. And it's not about the pain. It's about the interference with concentration. Malcolm looks at the monitor. This is Marrow's chance to explain it again. Marrow continued. Look at what it does. The subjects on the left, because they anticipate the shocks, make the adjustment and lose nothing on their scores. The subjects on the right, because the shocks are random, can't anticipate, and the distraction throws them off. Malcolm. Stop defending your science after the fact, Jim. The department protocol for research is very clear about this, and you violated the rules. I know that fear in performance is a big sexy idea, but as long as I'm chairman here, you will need this department's endorsement to publish it, and right now I can't do that. At this moment, Mary Lambretta, late 20s, Marrow's pretty T.A. opens the door with an armload of files. Whatever else she's wearing, she wears glasses. Marrow, seeing her, motions for her to go away. He doesn't break eye contact with Malcolm. Mary hesitates. Marrow. Malcolm, this is essential work I'm doing. Just think what my research can do for education. Elementary school classrooms near train tracks or airports where loud noise is random. This helps to prove the need for sound installation if the children are ever going to learn to read. Malcolm. And that will be a good place to end this study. Marrow. No, Malcolm. Individual performance is only part of it. I know why baseball players choke for no reason. I know why violinists throw up with fear before every concert and need to give a great performance, but what I want to know is how fear works in a group. Malcolm. Not the way you've constructed your group. It's just not ethical. Marrow. But if the group knows it's being studied as a group, you contaminate the results. The deception is minor. Malcolm sees Mary Lambretta. Malcolm. Are you working with her? Marrow. Mary, I'll meet you outside. She understands and she closes the door. Malcolm. Why are you working with her? Mary Lambretta was thrown out of the department for trying to get a Ph.D. in psychic studies. Marrow. And after she was thrown out, she needed a job. Malcolm. You don't believe in the paranormal? Marrow. No, but she does, and that's all that matters. Malcolm. Does she know that's why you are using her? Marrow. No. Malcolm. I just can't. Marrow. She needed a job, Malcolm, and she's smart, and she helps me. Malcolm. I have a bad feeling about what you are doing. Marrow. This is the last chapter. Please, please give me clearance. It's for science. Marrow waits. Malcolm. I'm gonna hate myself for this. But he nods. Permission granted. Marrow. Thank you. Interior. Hallway outside lab. Day. They open the door. They walk out. Mary is there. She closes her eyes and does a gypsy voice. Mary. I see a hostile man. She describes him. The hostile man does not believe in Madame Velka. This relieves the pressure. Malcolm is not listening anymore and storms off. Mary. You know what he's really upset about? Marrow. What? Mary. You are going to publish. He's going to you are going to publish. He's going to perish. And why did you hire me for this? Marrow has a sly smile. They go into his office through another door in the lab. Interior. Marrow's office. Day. Long, narrow, badly lit. It's filled with filing cabinets, stacks of unread textbooks still in publisher's plastic, a desk with computer. As soon as they enter, Mary looks at the phone. Mary. It's for you. And then the phone rings. He doesn't pick it right up. He lets it ring. Marrow. You hear the vibrations in the wire? There's a magnetic pulse in the wires. You feel it. I could test it. Mary. Test it. The phone still rings. Marrow answers. Marrow. Yes, this is Dr. Marrow. Mary. How'd I know it was for you? Marrow. Quickly. Because it's my phone. Back to the phone. Yes, Mrs. Dudley. Just leave the boxes inside. Thank you. See you soon. Thank you. He hangs up. Marrow is trying to read the first file as he goes to his desk. Mary shows him a huge cork board covered with photos, articles, and various items. Mary. Here's how they are organized. Groups of 5, very different personalities, scored all over the Keirsey temperance sorter just like you asked for. And they all score high on the insomnia charts. Marrow. Good. A photo of Nell falls on the floor. Marrow scoops it up. He holds the photo of Nell up to Mary and looks at the written notes and studies the graphs that go with it. Marrow. Continued. This is correct? Mary. Her mother died 2 months ago. She says she really wants to do this. I didn't know if it'd be taking advantage. Marrow considers the lonely image for a long moment and then looks at the graph of her test scores. Marrow, meaning the graph, not the face. What a beautiful profile. How do you feel about her? What does your intuition say? Mary balks at his teasing. Mary. I put my favorites on the top. Marrow continues to study the files. Marrow. OC. Okay, this one's a good extravagant filler. Okay, this is one I like too. We don't pay as much attention now to the cork board as to other images on the wall. We find clinical-looking shots from Stanley Milgram's experiments, subjects appearing to scream in response to electrical shock. Rows of weeping prisoners in the Stanford prison experiment. Photos of victims crushed under the stands of a soccer stadium, the aftermath of a riot. A picture of the Fuhrer before his mesmerized masses. Mary opens a large envelope. She takes out a photograph that we can't see. Mary. What's this? Has to get his attention. What's this? This picture. Marrow. That's Hill House. Mary. This is where we are going? Marrow. Yes, it's perfect, isn't it? Mary studies the picture and she can't answer him. In her glasses, we get the thinnest reflection of the photograph, a glimpse of dark brick and high chimneys.